Hey, ARESxGOD here, and it's time to talk about Bleach. And wow, I knew some of the things here, but let's just say I knew nothing, if I'm being honest here, especially after with what we've seen in this episode. I thought it started off a bit a setup episode for things to come, this training beginning, especially with Ichigo and Renji, which I liked seeing that side also. But I feel like the Zaraki and Unohana side completely stole the show, the episode over here, just the hype you see. And also I really liked how kind of they played a bit with the old Soul Society and the new Soul Society after the invasion we have here. And there's some major changes that are happening. Also, this is a preparation episode for the next battle, but making training arc so hype. Man, I love Bleach, what can I say? And also at the end of the video I'm gonna have a pretty big announcement, so stick around for that. So let's get into it and talk about this episode. Now, at the beginning of the episode we see Kyoraku getting some very interesting news. Apparently he was appointed as the head captain instead of Yamamoto, and also the captain of Squad 1. So he's gonna be the next generation, so to say, that's gonna be in charge of the Soul Society. So this is one of the biggest changes that we've had after the invasion, and that was truly the end of an era with Yamamoto dying and the void he left behind. I don't think it's ever gonna be filled, and it shouldn't even be filled, just how much influence Yamamoto had over everything. Yeah, may he rest in peace. So yeah, after that heavy news at the beginning of the episode, and we're gonna talk more about that, we have back at the healing onsen, which I really liked the training arc there a bit, or the start for Ichigo and Renji. We see Ichigo being forced to hold his breath in the onsen there. Tanjiro being Tanjiro. I'm really liking Tanjiro, this delinquent personality that he has. And even when he bitch slapped him across the water like throwing a rock in a pond there, with Ichigo telling, hey, that would have killed you, but you're healed now. But there was more to that strike. And also saying he's gonna send them to the next place. So they're probably gonna go around all of the palaces of the royal guards. There are some interesting reveals that happen here with the royal guards, and also Renji wanted to go, but he said he's healed. But I don't really think he's fully healed. But he survived a gut punch from Tanjiro. But there's something more to that also. So they're both gonna go to the next place. This is where we see what happened without Ichigo and Renji knowing Kazuho and Kazuhiro, the two helpers that were helping Tanjiro with the healing, just revealing how dangerous those healing baths are, to say the least. They even had to use protective gear, and you see around them after they take the suit off, they were very wounded. It's life-threatening to stay there that much. But also at the same time, Ichigo and Renji being able to handle that without them even realizing where they were, and more than shocked, Tanjiro exceeded his expectations for them, and he saw the potential in both of them, but especially in Ichigo, because remember that strike he first did with Ichigo when he threw him like a rock there across the water. Ichigo at the same time, out of reflex, managed to fracture Tanjiro's fist, and that shocked him, to say the least. And also Renji has quite a lot of potential, surviving that gut punch he got there. Although maybe the fracture fist played a role, but still, taking a punch to the gut from somebody in Squad 0 over here says quite a lot about Renji. And he has always had quite huge potential, even throughout the history of the series. And Renji is also one of my favorite characters. So yeah, this was their healing palace, so to say. They finally got past this one. And even the comments we see here that the Soul King is interested in Ichigo. Tanjiro dropped a huge bomb on us, but is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because up so far in the series we barely have any information on the Soul King. Like, we know some surface things, but the goals, agendas, we have no idea what the Soul King wants, and hopefully they're gonna delve more into this side of Bleach. But back in the Soul Society, we see I'm really liking Kyoraku, the first order of business, becoming the head captain. He had 2 requests, so to say. Well, first one was before he became captain, he needs 2 lieutenants, one to handle him, the important thing, and one to handle the squad, which he gets his condition there. But after that, I really liked the conversation with him and Central. He wants to teach Kenpachi Zanjutsu X, to actually teach him how to fight properly. He's this monster only fighting on instinct. He doesn't have any proper techniques and anything along those lines. We saw back in the main series when Yamamoto finally taught him Kendo, just actually using the sword with 2 hands, and how much that increased his power in that fight with Noitora. Without it, he wouldn't have won, and they were against it. They were scared about Kenpachi, saying if he gets any stronger, how will we be able to control him? But I really liked Kyoraku's answer to that, and yes, please give me more Kyoraku like that. Will any of you be able to protect yourselves against the next invasion? Like, yes, fuck off with your requests here. High and Mighty standing safe there, not fighting, not being on the front lines, and then you also have these hypocritical wishes. Fuck off. Of course he didn't say that, but I really appreciated what Kyoraku said there. And they give him permission, even though they don't really say it out loud. But this was the next thing that was the biggest bombshell, and this is one of the spoilers I knew about the series. Like I said, I don't know plot points, just some random spoilers with who will teach Zaraki, and Kyoraku reveals Unohana, or the first Kenpachi, her being the first Kenpachi. Remember, Kenpachi is like a name or title being handed down after you defeat the previous one, so there's some history between them, a lot there. And I really liked, like I said, the transition with old Soul Society and new Soul Society, and how they affect each other moving forward. And we see more and more with that. The later half of the episode was probably the best stuff. Now we see a bit more with Ichigo and Renji. I really like the shenanigans, the bickering between them. I appreciate the comedy here with them traveling through the air with the best means of transportation there. Shiba would be proud. I feel like this is a tradition of traveling in the entire Soul Society and even the royal palace. And they finally get to the next palace, and we've seen some interesting things there, and also had a cushion or a conscion for the landing. They used con as a mattress to land there. And the next palace belongs to Kiryu. We saw her last episode, the fat lady. Or is she fat? We're gonna get to that. And she was the one that helped them recover after the healing, which they still don't realize how dangerous that healing was, with a ton of food, like literally a ton of food. I feel like I was watching DBZ Goku and Vegeta eating, or some One Piece Luffy action there. You had Ichigo and Renji eating competition. They're very competitive with each other, but she was only there to feed them, but that feeding had a very big purpose. It wasn't just simple feeding or just simple food. But what I appreciated more was, all of the bickering and comedy aside, was a bit the serious conversation they had there, especially with Ichigo asking Renji if they should be there just healing and just eating food. We know throughout the series how much pressure Ichigo is putting on himself, blaming for everything, always wanting to do more, but he's also very dense. And Denji, my bad, I'm thinking of Chainsaw Man also. Renji put him in his place there, kind of snapped him out of it. Hey, this is what we should be doing, recovering after everything that happened. Sets him straight probably, and then go back to big. But then we get a new character coming in. Instantly makes sense who she is Kiryu, and damn, I think I'm in love. She's looking so good, like, ooh, why isn't she always like that? And she's very, very hot. Now, like I said, this training they've been doing hasn't been normal training, is at the standard of the Soul King, the league of the Soul King there. So yeah, these training palaces aren't gonna be as simple as they sound, at least as first impressions, and also get some information about the next one, or some warning. And I really like the exposition in a way we got from Kiryu about everything, how it works there, and also how she loses weight, because apparently when she's cooking she uses all her reats or spiritual energy, and she loses weight. So her spiritual energy is related to how fat she is. That means I'm very strong in the Bleach universe. Okay, it makes sense. I'll take it as a win for me. But yeah, she's very, very hot when she doesn't have spiritual energy. But on a more serious note, we see a bit of the history of the Soul Society and Squad Zero, how it works, with each individual captain of Squad Zero being recognized by the king, and them created something for the Soul Society, part of its history. And she's responsible for creating the temporary soul related to Kon also. So she has done a very big contribution to the Soul Society, to say the least, and also warns them about the next palace belonging to Ohetsu. I'm sorry if I'm butchering his name. And this guy created a Zanpakuto. Yeah. We're getting to the real stuff about the series, the world building, the power system, everything. I hope we're gonna get a lot of information about the swords. Back when Bleach ended, I saw some of my random spoilers, like I said. This was one of the most interesting things. I wanted to delve more and more, but hey, the anime is finally back here. And also ties in with, remember, Ichigo Zanpakuto is broken. How is this going to work? Reforge it, make a new one, get something else? I don't know. I'm very interested into that, to say the least, but probably it's not gonna be as easy or as simple. Kind of, we have had a simple one, just taking a bath, just eating some food. Next one is probably not just gonna be a hammer hitting a piece of iron. But next week it's looking to be very interesting, related to Ohetsu. This was pretty much the first half of the episode, which was more preparation for things to come. And also the second half was also preparations, but it felt like a lot more serious, like very, very much more dark, to say the least. We see in the underground levels, the prison, Muki, and the lowest level, we have Zaraki and Unohana, or Zaraki versus Unohana, the rematch or the flash training session they're gonna have here. And I really like the conversation between them. You see the history there, there's a lot of history. You also see how much Zaraki cares for Unohana, with even him, how he started the conversation saying non-criminals are not allowed here, with what Unohana said, but we'd be just criminals if we weren't powerful. And that's a very good point and a very interesting perspective of looking at things. And it makes sense. When you have power, you don't really call yourself a criminal. Every villain is the hero in their own story, and especially more it applies to them with how they started their to get them here, their history, And I really like the tone shift in Unohana. Throughout the series, I think she barely talked. She had very few big moments, so to say. I feel like one of the most important moments was when she was with Ichigo, telling him that half of his Reiatsu is tied to his Bankai, how much powerful he is when he was going to fight against Aizen. But this is finally we get some history about her and their scars, and she has a scar on the chest, and she really doesn't like that scar. Always reminds her of Zaraki every time he talks. So I really like the tone shift in her voice. Feels very different from the usual Unohana we have gotten used to, and even Zaraki has the scar reminding him of Unohana. We see her history through Kyoraku remembering things. She used to be a notorious criminal. It ties in with how their conversation started, and she named herself Yachiru. Remember Yachiru, also tied to Zaraki, meaning 8,000 tiles. But this fight won't be as simple because it's not just training, and Kyoraku made a very interesting point. One of them will die, and everybody knew about that, especially the two of them. So this is going to be a very heavy price they're gonna pay for this. Now I don't think Zaraki is going to die, even though they got me in the first half of the fight. I'm not gonna lie, probably gonna be Unohana, and I still don't want Unohana to die. I hope she's not gonna die, but we might have to say goodbye to Unohana, and we even see how both of them have said their goodbyes to their lieutenants. There a letter, a memento for both of them. And yeah, we're probably gonna lose one of them, and I feel it's gonna be Unohana. Now I don't know this, like I said, this is not one of the spoilers. I know, I have no idea. But during the fight, you see Unohana being in full control of the fight, how she's just always telling him, you're weak, you're weak. She almost decapitated him at some point. And Zaraki, remember how he always went into fights with the eye patch on. And this time he went into the fight without the eye patch on. So he more than respects and acknowledges Unohana as a fighter and her power. And her even telling him, hey, use both arms, and both of them talking about how they changed, especially Zaraki telling Unohana, you changed from the person I admired. And this is something we haven't really seen from Zaraki, a more vulnerable side to him quite a lot in this episode. And she won the fight very easily, or did she? Because she used some cheap tricks, some other weapons to wound him a bit. But she made a very interesting comment that got to Zaraki, got under his skin. Did he get weaker? Because last time she didn't have the leeway to use those cheap tricks, and that got to Zaraki. We see a bit of their history, how their first fight happened with him being bored starting there. Then he finally met her and he felt fear for the first time, and saying, I'm gonna die here without beating you. And I actually thought Unohana killed him, stabbing him through the neck. But what I don't think I ever expected of seeing from Zaraki, he actually cried, showing emotion, being vulnerable over here, opening himself up. We've always known Zaraki being this crazed fiend about fights and everything, which he is, don't get me wrong, but we finally see a bit of the human side from Zaraki, even though he has shown it sometimes, just still trying in denying, helping people and stuff like that, but not crying. Zaraki crying, and I'm really happy we got to see that. This is where I thought she actually killed him, stabbing him through the neck, but I feel like that was more of a feeling the blood, the killer intent in the air, the self-imagining power that Unohana was having there. He saw his death and he slowly started to awaken, and this is where you see how Unohana also blames herself for what Zaraki has become, saying that the verge of death makes him stronger. And I feel like she blames herself for for him being like this after their fight, and she kind of wants a redemption in a way. She's willing to do this and sacrifice herself to change him a bit, or giving more power in a way. I hope she's not gonna die, but yeah, I kind of feel she'll die. But this was such an awesome episode from Zaraki and Unohana, seeing both of them very different from their usual selves. Of course, the first part was also very interesting with the reveals, but Zaraki and Unohana were the main focus for me in this episode, and I can't wait for the next one. And I'm very curious what you guys thought about the episode, the reveals we got here, and which one do you think is going to die, Zaraki or Unohana? So yeah, an awesome episode. I can't wait for next week, and like I said, I have a pretty big announcement over here for the future. We have started a anime podcast, me and Oldish. If you guys remember, I've always been a few times on his podcast, Anime Talk with Oldish. We rebranded that podcast. It's called now Because Anime. Hey, if you ever asked yourself why, now you know the answer. Because anime. Next, well, not next, first episode should be out this Wednesday. All the socials are gonna be there. I'm gonna tweet everything. You're gonna have links to everything. Make sure you follow it, watch it, like, subscribe. Everything over there would mean a lot to both of us. A lot of work went into the podcast, but we're also learning a bit, improving, and things like that. We're gonna get better and better. So make sure you keep an eye out for the podcast. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, helps me quite a lot, and you guys get the latest videos on the series that I follow. So keep enjoying Bleach. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.